Hi and welcome to our new episode on weekends. We usually do it on weekdays, but I felt there is a need of addressing this issue. A lot many podcasters have already taken this issue, or I would say the role of AI, but I would be making it more specific in terms of how HR is going to perform in this kind of a transition that is happening in AI, making it as a kind of a human centric kind of a position. So WisdomSeed has already been, posting a lot of content which is related to mental wellness, and I felt that AI would directly affect human beings, and it is affecting definitely for sure. So today we are going to take it from the fraternity of HR, that how they see this particular AI intervention and transition that we are going to face in coming, let's say 5, 10 years. The era of AI is on the dawn, and we are getting equipped ourselves, having a certain kind of blind corners when it comes to how AI integration would be taking place, how human factor would be inculcated or ingrained into it, and how that would be affecting overall on human aspects. So if you see technology advancement and artificial intelligence is no longer a tool right now. It has become an integral part, and it is more immersive part of how experience are within the organization, and how both human and organization are going to operate in coming age. So I just want to talk about the topic which is specifically focusing on the element of human resource in the age of AI. So from talent acquisition and performance management to employee engagement and development, AI promises effective and innovation solution, but also at the same time, it raises a critical questions about its impact on people. So I would like to welcome everyone to have this insightful session that is there. We're going to make our attempt to give our 2 cents on the most transformative and the most complex and challenging topic that is of our time, the role of HR in age of AI integration. So today we are here to explore this complex intersection of technology and humanity, and we are approaching in following of the three perspectives that we want to develop. So first perspective is HR recruitment perspective, wherein the challenges and the opportunity of AI that are creating in talent acquisition. That is what we want to talk about. Talk about what are the advantage, what are the pros and cons, and how it is going to affect, and how the future we'll see of talent acquisition with the AI integration. The second perspective would be of HR development and people perspective. How AI affect people emotions, how AI reshape learning growth and people management. That is one aspect that we are going to explore more. And the psychological perspective, like how AI is affecting the emotional trust and the psychologically safe environment that is going to create, or how it is going to affect on that. To help me to navigate to this particular conversation with different nuances, I'm really honored to bring in the speaker of today's session. So we have Malolan with us, who is an assistant manager of talent acquisition at Almetrics. Am I pronouncing it right? Altimetrik.
Altimetrik, yeah.
Altimetrik. Okay, so he would be having an insight over the evolving landscape of AI in recruitment. And we have Edwin Jewell, one of my closest friend, and he has been there from since of our lot of podcasts. So he is a senior manager of people development at Anubhav, who has highlight how AI is transforming people development. And me, I would be bringing in the psychological aspect to the perspective, exploring the emotional and the mental impact of AI on employees and on the organization. That is what we are trying to uncover together. So this is going to be an opportunity to handle the toughest question. To make this conversation more, interactive and engaging, I would also encourage a participant to park their question at the end of the session when all of us are done with this particular understanding and giving our 2 cents, and then we can come to discussion about what problems or what AI integration you see it through your lenses. So great. So let's start. Let's begin this transformative conversation. So everybody's excited, right? Okay, great. So the first question or the general question that I want to ask, which is going to be your stance and why is this topic relevant today, and what makes AI integration a pressing issue for HR? So what is your answer? So we can start with Edwin, then Malan, you can take it.
Yeah, I'll take it in a very simple manner. First thing
Mm-hmm.
is there has been different generations.
Right.
So HR has been facing the challenge of evolving with the generations and their needs.
Right.
And now with the skill latency, I'll give you a practical example. Is my
Mm.
dad has been with an organization and he retired from the same organization. So
Right.
if he had known a skill, it would have
Mm.
been very helpful for him to sustain his life cycle, the entire employee life cycle. Now with us and with the newer generation and with digital transformation and AI into bringing into the space wherein we are challenging the human intelligence with an artificial intelligence where it evolves on its own. So we are looking at a skill latency period, and with that everyone needs to upskill.
Right.
So that's a challenge for every generation, and with
Mm.
every organization needs to adapt.
Oh, great. Great. Yes, Malolan, to you.
Thank you so much, Abhijit. See, my point of view, using AI and integrating particular AI into an organization is all about. We are working on a process based organization. Overall for the periods, you need to come and log in. And then, in those days, we used to sign the attendance register. When I start with my career, I need to, sign into the attendance register. Then, evolved into thumbprint, then, access ID cards. And
Right.
nowadays, it has been, digitally evolved. And
Mm-hmm.
looking at your face, it is completely, detecting. See, a certain process, has to get, completely revolutionized.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the challenge towards the robust process, this will not, fly through. But at
Right.
some point of a time, it has to be kind of an human touch as well. So
Mm-hmm.
even though, despite, you have your centric point as your face detection at the entering into the office,
Right.
but wishing someone, good morning, with
Mm.
the
Mm.
securities, or with
Mm.
any
Mm.
people, that
Mm-hmm.
boost your value, that boost your day.
Right.
So both the things are, very desired and very need on this perspective, when it come for a well-being, or any factors, that influencing HR.
Right. True. True. I think very well sum up by both of you. What my take would be like right now, the adaptation of AI that is there, it has grown from zero from last 4 years to 270% in last 4 years, and that is a Gartner's research that has been there, and 270% is like a whopping number, which actually infiltrate to every function that we know of as wherein human intervention was there, and this is going to be reshaping lot many functions that we are looked in a traditional manner. Let it be recruitment, development, employee experience, as we say. But when we see at as a rising concern, as you said, that saying hello or making more humanized interaction is somewhere we as an human, and we don't have that kind of interaction with other human being. We will always have the kind of an alienation kind of an experience when we are going to interact with AI in future. But I think AI companies are relentlessly working on making it a more human experience, and I am pretty sure by 10 to 15 years, most of the humanity would also see companionship through AI, and that is already happening. It is a near future, I guess. Uh, so that has already been, that has been cooking my brain from last 4 to 5 years when AI has was introduced, and the new I think the new research and the new advancement of AI version that are coming in are only picking up the entire clue of what is the problem by only a simple sketch that you can draw. Now you don't have to input any prompts. You don't have to, voice is there definitely. But now if you can just draw a picture and show it to AI through photographs, upload that photo, they can just read the picture and they can be able to formulate the answer on that. So now AI are like also developing their organs. I would say they were very much into listening and generating data. Now they would be able to observe data, and definitely our mobile phones do have Chat GPT app on that, and I feel that in near future the camera would be eye of an AI, and the front and back camera, and they would be reading our overall facial expressions, which we as a human are very tend to give away into lot many interaction, and micro expressions are there. So what I felt, this is a coming or a burning issue in terms of HR, because human resource is one of the most, I think, the direct related link between corporate, your job, and your human aspect, and they are the common bridge. And these are the people who are a kind of a gatekeeper of lot many things. Okay, a filter, a gatekeeper, a culture drivers. So all those things comes to HR. But now with the coming age, the AI is going to be the next artificial intelligence, which is going to work into all those aspects as we know as human beings. So this is where I felt like we should supposed to take this as a topic, and that was my take on that, because it is just getting away. So HR is sitting at a crossroad of technology and humanity here. That is what I feel like, and making it crucial to address both the opportunity and the risk that are involved into it. So this is the main thing that I want you to take this particular question in both aspect, like what are the opportunity, what are the risk, because I think it is clearly fair that we can say that human aspect and neglecting human aspect or human centric approach of an AI is the biggest risk. But when it is translated into recruitment, when it's translated into people development, I want your view on that. So the first question that I want to ask is, to Edwin about, he takes care of a lot of people development perspective that is there. So upskilling and reskilling with AI. Okay, how can AI help HR identify the skill gaps within teams or individual employees?
See, we will have to look at a AI tool set which can be industry specific. Now we have a lot of tools which are very generic, and
Right.
depending on our prompts and our input, it will give you an outline. But I can cite example of LinkedIn, wherein they have skill insights, which identifies like the workforce skill gaps. So AI tool can look at what I can look at is the skill is they can analyze our performance metrics and performance data, and it can also connect it to the job requirements, job role requirements, and it can also look at trends at identifying the skill gaps which are there in an organization. So
Right.
for this, an organization needs to have a skill or a competency mapping to be done, and it also needs to be connected across with predictive analysis. We are at the heart and soul of predictive analysis when we're looking at AI, because it is generating a lot of scenarios. Earlier with the human intelligence, we are looking at like one solution for every input. Now it has brought in multi-dimension. The
Right.
discussion we had during the last bring your own beverages,
Yeah.
that it is bringing a lot of dimensions. So
Very
it is
true.
also looking at different industrial perspectives as well when we are dealing with a problem statement for an industry. See,
True.
when I
True.
had worked in different industries, I could bring in, if one thing which was working in one industry can be brought into the other industry. Due to my work experience, I could look at it. Now with AI, it can generate scenarios wherein those kind of things which are already addressed in some industry can be used at another industry's case study. So best examples I can give is LinkedIn's skill insights, and I think Walmart also uses a AI tool wherein it determines the future roles in the organization
True.
depending on the Walmart's goal, the long-term goals
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have a precise planning for each industry, and industry-specific AI tools has to be there. Then only we can look at a niche or a precise skill gap analysis.
True. True. So with this question, just to add up, I think I would require Malolan's, idea on this. Like, how do you think that AI currently being used into recruitment? With the given, analysis by Edwin, that this competency mapping has to be very specific to a particular company, and depending upon company's pulse or company's, unique selling point that we say USPs, or based upon what would be their strategy, or even product diversification, what they would be doing in coming future. So how have you seen any kind of footsteps or foot following to this kind of an approach, wherein AI currently being used as a recruitment, and what specific task has been improved in getting this kind of people or specific niche skill?
Bro, that's a very good question. But to address this, see, the AI with recruitment, has evolved like anything. I mean, starting from resume screening, there is uh, very big change.
Hmm.
For example, those days, what we used to do is, we post a job on a Naukri,
Right.
and then you'll get multiple number of profiles,
Right.
which is 70% more than irrelevant. But to
Hmm.
avoid that, what we used to do is we need to look through each and every profile which is suitable, which is not suitable. Then we'll call them for the interview.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now that process has been completely eradicated. For example, if you take a profile,
Hmm.
I mean, it is like I can give you a real time example. There is a tool called Workable. It's a
Right.
one particular ATS,
Hmm.
and IBM ATS also. It gives you exactly what is the percentage of the skill set, what I've mentioned.
Right.
And moving to the other one, the chatbot. So nowadays, the chatbots, gives you a lot of engagement activity with the candidates.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we priorly as a recruiter, when we play a recruiter kind of a role, we normally text the candidate is everything is going good, or we are waiting for the panel availability. So these kind of messages or calls we used to engage with the people. Now that role has been eradicated, and it gives chatbot itself has started sending automated emails to the candidates mentioning
Right.
like, thank you so much for the interest, and
Hmm.
what are the improving point that you need to address into. So
Hmm.
these kind of things, and nowadays I can able to see one big trend is succession planning. We used to put it manually. We used to identify for the next year, but
Right.
nowadays using the predictive analysis,
Hmm.
uh, even the AI tool is doing the next year succession planning, and what how much roles we'll be hiring based on the cost and other factors. Each
Right.
replacement roles that cannot be predicted, that needs a human touch. That
Hmm.
is also people have to consider.
Very
But
true.
repeated jobs are completely
Hmm.
weighted nowadays,
Hmm.
and people are focusing with some human touch
Hmm.
to retain the candidates.
Right. Great. So I think it's a good summing up of what was expected from the answer. And one, advancing question to this particular recruitment part that I want to just bring out over here, that what are the biggest challenge or risk when you use AI in recruitment, particularly regarding biases? Because why I'm asking this question is because there was one documentary that has code bias itself. It is on Netflix, and I have given this reference into my previous episode as well, wherein uh, uh, candidates were hired based upon the skin tones. Okay, that was one of the criteria that was there. Now, we are not saying that the bias was ingrained or put into the into AI. It was out of the data that was provided within that particular algorithm. And because of the algorithm and the probability of that particular data, is, let's say, for example, if entire history and the history books are being filled with light tone human beings to be conquerors and rulers, and all those aspects that we see, even the top 10 entrepreneur, if you take it, all those are of a different skin tone. They are lighter skin tone, I would say. And when you have this kind of biases that have been developed, not because of bias into that, it is because of the data that has been fed. So if you have a data that is like just like an what goes in, what comes out. Okay, so that kind of biases that is there. So when you see recruitment and when you see AI being going to be integrated, as a recruiter or the TA professional, what do you think that this biases would be there, and what you have seen there, or have you heard about these biases, and how India, in specifically, when it comes to such kind of diversity of ethnicity and the culture and the cultural references that we have in terms of the stories that are there. which are totally narrated different in a different part of India, and they have a different preferences that is there. And the languages, we to add up to the equation, there are languages that are totally different.
True.
So that aspect means I'm just giving you a lot of things to pinpoint on, but you can pick up one thing that you feel that is particular to biases when it comes to AI as a risk.
See, to answer to this,
Hmm.
when you think on this a perspective,
Hmm.
over reliance on technology will not work through with the human touch. You
Mhm.
can eradicate only the uh, continuous work or jobs, or repetitive jobs, which is keep on going. That part, can eradicate with the AI tools. So when you
Mhm.
talk on the bias, adding to your point, there are 17 more biases under under the word called bias. We have 17 more concepts.
Mhm.
So under each and every heading, whatever the algorithms which we are giving to the AI, it will
Mhm.
be figuring out based on the algorithm which has been written to that particular tool or a chatbot.
Mhm.
So obviously, if I wanted to touch base with gender based hiring, sometimes
Mhm.
companies provide people wanted to start the second innings, irrespective of men or female, so or a third gender. So obviously, it will be displaying only to a particular gender or the data which has been given. So
Mhm.
that is a cruel one.
Mhm.
So the algorithms should be very very uh, when they are creating any algorithms that needs
Mhm. Mhm.
written on such a way so that people will understand. So I think it will take another 10 to 15 years time to understand the human emotions.
Mhm.
So it is a huge risk,
Right.
comparatively.
Right, right. So I think a right point have reflected over here, because I think when we overly rely on technology in terms of blindly taking those particular answer or outcomes that are there, even ChatGPT has a kind of a disclaimer at the bottom that ChatGPT can be wrong. Please verify the answer, and all those things are mentioned over there. But as a human tendency, and as we are programmed to be, lazy, and when it comes to being in our comfort zone, we don't want to go the extra mile. We try to, our brains are designed in such a way. Na? That's why we relegate towards all the apps that are there. Swiggy is there, Amazon is there,
Hardwired.
Flipkart is there. Yeah, we are hardwired that way. So the possibility of neglecting that particular outcome to very much making it as a credible information, human being has a lot of tendency in doing that. They would always make that particular information very credible because they don't want to research on that, because there will be a lot of things. And as you can see, the online buying profiles, and the kind of amount that you spend online is a kind of an evident that we get adapted to anything that makes us lazier. Efficient, yeah, definitely, but accuracy and non-bias, that is something that we have to decide on. And I think that is a very valid point that you have brought in. The over reliance on technology is something that we have to look into till the time we are pretty much confident that they are able to do it in that way. But I don't see it that we're going to totally give away or delegate our entire task oriented things or any strategic kind of things. Human intervention would be definitely there. So coming to that particular part, I want to ask the next question to Edwin regarding what do you think? What are the some of the effective way AI create personalized learning path for employees?
First thing, adding to Malolan's content was
Hmm.
anything excess is not good.
Right.
That overintelligence, that is a thing. And then with AI, to the previous question which we had referred, when the competency mapping and everything is being done, we will have a learning curve for each of the skill requirements.
Hmm.
So you can, with AI, you can generate. See, in education, I'll take it this way around.
Hmm.
Okay, when you look at an education, we
Right.
have two models of approach. One is CB,
Hmm.
competency based education. Another is OB, outcome based education.
Hmm.
So when we look at competency based, we are looking at a skill matrix or a skill
Right.
learning. How we make the skill level 1 to skill level 2,
Hmm.
like a transition where we can look at individual development plans. And when we are looking at outcome based education, we are looking at learning outcomes. So every skill, like if you look at every department, can be mapped into different skill requirements for the
Mm-hmm.
different roles.
Mm.
So that can be mapped into the skill mapping, and that can also be mapped into the learning objectives. So those
Right.
things can be automated using an AI, where it
Mm-hmm.
can create. Like
Mm.
in recruitment, all the administrative tasks, HR
Mm-hmm.
has this statement, right? We'll get back to you. That get back to yous are now being taken care by chatbots, having
Right.
engagement with the
Mm.
candidates from
Mm.
their
Mm.
accepting
Mm. Mm.
the inclination towards an
Mm.
objective to join the company.
Mm.
So likewise, once we have a chatbot which can do this kind of a interaction, we can
Mm.
also look at what role the person has joined,
Right.
what is his short-term goals, long-term goals, are they aligning with the departmental goals, or are they looking at a job enrichment or a job rotation when compared to another role in the organization or a
Mm-hmm.
department. So that mapping can be done and can be taken across. So LMS and micro learning would be very much in progress with AI
Mm-hmm.
powered
Mm-hmm.
thing, if you
Mm.
look at individual goals and
Mm.
career
Mm.
goals.
Mm.
Coursera has recommendations. Once you put our basic input, we get suggested coastlines from Coursera. And I think Siemens had Siemens AI tools have done a great work for factory workers
Mm-hmm.
upskilling. And
Right.
in recent concepts, I think we can also integrate virtual reality and AR and VR also with AI to
Mm-hmm.
look at exponential learning
Right.
for individuals,
Right.
because there's a short time span towards learning.
Mm. Mm.
So only micro learning is there.
Mm-hmm. Great. So I think one aspect that I want to pick up from your statement, Edwin, is that uh, though we are heading towards AI integration, and one thing that I felt that psychologically, which is my perspective towards this particular entire integration of AI, is uh, can human once in an organization, when you are developing such kind of AI which is going to bring up a succession plan, it is going to give you a kind of an TA strategy, it is going to give you a JDs or skill set or even the assessment that would be designed on those particular elements. uh, Organization wise it is fine, but if you take it as a human part, do you think that the trust would be established? Because I felt like the trust part when it comes to AI is something that we would always lack as a human being. Why I would say that, as in one of the interview, Dr. Harare, if you have ever read about Sapien and the new Nexus that he has been promoting all over India, and he says that AI is not artificial intelligence, AI is alien intelligence. Why? Because why he says alien intelligence, because the dimensions, the emotions, the sensitivity, and the perception of the world a human being carry, it's totally different from the AI perspective. The emotional lessness or didn't have, or it doesn't have the replications of how, or understanding of the replications, that would be far more important. That once I design this particular interviews module, or once I design a kind of interaction of chatbot, because as you know that even if you go for a text chatbots, the text usually without an emoticon is very direct statement and is open for perception. Okay, because that's how it is, because you don't have the tonality into it, you don't have any empathy or any kind of tone into it. So whenever you say certain things into specific words or into chat box, it hits differently. That's why the invention of emoticons were there, GIF was there. Why it was? Because it has that kind of limitation when it comes to chatbot. So when you said that, okay, this is where we have to create a kind of a plan when AI integration has to be there. The trust factor is something as an HR we have to establish. We have to make sure that the trust is pushed towards employees, and it can only start with demystifying the unknown part of the AI. Getting on those plans which AI and the logic why the AI is thinking in that particular way, that has to be somewhere humanized by the HR department. That is where we are going to shine as in human resource fraternity. So this is where I felt like we have to add up more into that. Okay.
We,
So,
we need to be tech-enabled HR people
yeah,
with
tech enable.
a bit
Yes,
of
yes.
empathy and common sense.
Yeah, that's the main thing, right? So I think you've already given example of Siemens and all the things, but can you provide example of companies successfully using AI for upskilling or reskilling? I think Siemens was there, definitely it was there.
Siemens is
Any
there.
other? Hmm.
Coursera also has recommendations.
All right.
Like when we sign up for Coursera or
Hmm.
Great Learning, and then we put our career path
Hmm.
progression, it
Hmm.
suggests a lot of things.
Hmm.
So in the
Hmm.
backend, it has an algorithm where it checks our skills and everything.
Right.
So
Right.
I'll give you another example is
Hmm.
LinkedIn also gives me suggestions.
Hmm.
When I
Hmm.
put an update, it suggests me what is the next course
Hmm.
I can do,
Hmm.
what
Hmm.
can be my career progression. So they are
Hmm.
taking a lot of
Hmm.
input from our own data. See,
Right.
algorithms are very neutral and
Hmm.
they don't perceive data with a human touch. So it will be very cut and right. घोड़े के
Right.
लगाम के जैसा सीधा रास्ता ही दिखेगा. You will not have that diversions and perceptions.
But don't you think this would create a kind of a, what I can say, a rabbit hole for a person who is, driven by algorithm? Let's say the same algorithm is used by YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and I don't think so that it is far reached from our, LMS to design a kind of an algorithm which would keep us learning as one of the most, FOMO next FOMO.
Human has
Yeah,
to
it would be next FOMO that if I'm not learning this certification, that I would be irrelevant or something like that. So I think people would be totally glued in that particular race of making themselves upskilled. But then the micro courses that we are inventing or we are designing to just answer those particular learning requirement, don't you think that would be propagating culture of skimming? That is learning but skimming, not going to the depth of it, depth of the topic, but just skimming on the keywords. We're not going because let's understand this fact that we take 18 to 20 years to master one of the skills that we are right now into. Okay, or we have taken at least 4 or 5 years to master the skill of being into HR, or and the experience and the goof ups and the blunders that we have created while being in HR. I think that has add up a lot much into us. But when you see that the micro learning would be induced by LMS when AI is integrated, we would be more of a skimmer than a person who would be thought provoking in terms of that. So this is where the fear comes in play, that are we really heading into those directions which are making I told you it is efficient, AI is efficient, but the risk that is involved. So what are the risks that you think that are there? If my fear is real, do you think that is real, that are we going to make people
every
more
fear is real because we are human. We
yeah,
rely on human intelligence.
right.
Few takes I'll take it is like
Hmm.
what we learned the hard way is accessible to the generation alpha and the Gen Z at a
Hmm.
very
Hmm.
easier tip of their fingers and
Right.
at a click of the mouse.
Right.
But what they don't know is where to use what and how to use.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that comes with common sense, which is lacking during our thought process.
Hmm.
Creativity is lost with AI. Your drawing skills or motor skills and
Hmm.
everything has to be when a child grows,
Hmm.
he
Hmm.
takes single steps, then he crawls,
Hmm.
then he goes for on the two legs, right?
Right.
So that journey is very critical for him to run.
Hmm. Hmm.
That can't be taught by AI. There has to
Hmm.
be a human. There has to be
Hmm.
somebody who can mentor and who
Hmm.
can do a reverse mentoring. Both has
Hmm.
to be there. Unless
Hmm.
there is no human, you have only not Homo sapiens, but you will have artificial sapiens to take care of the next generations. If something kind of a eco
Hmm.
collapse or something happens, then
Hmm.
the change. But
Hmm.
I'll accept your thing. Like there is always a risk. How
Hmm.
do we litigate that risk to have a
Hmm.
human space where there is
Hmm.
always collaboration?
Hmm.
And AI is just for every one of us to use it as an enabler to
Hmm.
look at doing our jobs in a much efficient and a better manner. But human HR is going to stay. AI enabled HR is going to stay longer.
Right. Right. Great. So that was a great example. So hi Gayatri. Thank you for turning off the camera, turning on the camera. We are able to see you. Great, great. So this question goes to I think what are the emerging trends of AI for recruitment? Such as predictive analysis and diversity focused tools that you feel like which will be far more relevant in Indian scenario, because diversity focused tool that is far more because the diversity in US and European countries are pretty much restricted to one way of looking at the ethnicity and the religious background, the caste systems that we have over here. There are a lot many things that would come in play when it comes to India, because India is already a melting pot of a lot of cultures, a lot of stories, a lot of diverted things, because human beings, as Harare said, only works with how the stories are told to them. So whatever stays relevant is how the story has been told. And as an HR, we are supposed to be the best storytellers when it comes to integration of or whatever the alien technology or AI is going to be there. So when you, it's a loaded question, I know. I can anybody who can pitch in for this particular question can come in. I don't want to put an extra burden on Malolan to answer this question, but you can start with that particular thing. That what do you think? How it looks for you?
See, I'll tell you the pros first, and then the cons.
Hmm.
See, there are a lot of AI tools came into the picture to hire this diversity hiring. For example, if you take my G work, there
Hmm.
is a website where you can focus on the LGBT community. Where people will be uploading their profiles, and you can hire from those particular websites.
Hmm.
And if you look at the cons, see, eradicating the bias with AI, which is not possible. There should be human interaction. So the reason being, whatever we feed into the data for any tool or any algorithm which we input towards particular algorithms, the output the output is all about the human touch.
Hmm.
So whether this particular person is suitable for this particular role or not, that can be decided only by the human,
Hmm.
not with the AI. For example, you can be a top ranker with IIT Madras,
Hmm.
but you're practically a bookworm.
Hmm. Hmm.
But where the other person who is not a bookworm, but he makes his hand dirty, he knows which logic can be used for uh, which cloud, and how to integrate the systems.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the companies, the top companies, will focus only on the skills. How do you perform with your interviews, not with your scores and marks? And that's why, to be very honest, AI is a blessing in disguise.
Right.
So which is like where to use and
Hmm.
what to
Hmm.
use is a matter of fact,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that part we need to be very clear of. So it can do their job to to simplify your work,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it helps us to to create a more human touch,
Hmm.
and that's the
Hmm.
job of it. We need to
Hmm.
keep the
Hmm.
AI out of it.
Hmm.
We need to sit, talk, work,
Hmm.
and move
Hmm.
on, and that's the one reality
Hmm.
which I have seen the trends.
Hmm.
So on a lighter note, just wanted to add one
Hmm.
more point with what Edwin said is all about Coursera.
Hmm.
So nowadays, the Gen Z, they are not, uh, developing them into multiple factors.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
now, if I'm a Java developer, I can go to roadmap.sh,
Hmm. Hmm.
where it will tell you what are the trends in this era and what is the architecture of it. By
Right.
that way, they will read only the topics.
Hmm. Hmm.
But after 4 years, if that trend goes, where will they go?
Hmm.
Again,
Hmm.
they will search for one more
Hmm.
AI tool
Hmm.
to equip themselves.
Right.
So it's not AI. It is all about, if you wanted to, learn about the technology,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
need to have a strong foundation.
Hmm.
For
Hmm.
that, you can see any number of videos. But that video also, created by a human. At that point, people need to be aware of it.
Hmm.
So, and this way,
Hmm.
anyhow, human touch and emotional connect is
Hmm.
matters a lot, more than AI.
Hmm. Hmm. Great. Great.
I'll
Yes,
add up
Edwin.
over
Yeah.
here. No, I'm happy with the way Manoran has brought the thing.
Hmm.
two things to that. First is like when you have an engineering employee, a person who has done his engineering, and then you have a person who has done his diploma. A
Mm-hmm.
diploma guy will have a lot of more insights on the job because he has done it practically. An engineer will have a lot of theoretical knowledge, but he has not applied to it. So
Right.
answering to that is like how the person has made himself into the job and done the job. So that is
Mm.
very critical. And we as humans, we have learned from our neighbors, our cultural diversity and everything. So when we look at India, we are very diverse on
Mm.
culture, on religion,
Mm.
on dialects.
Mm.
And when you look at dialects, we have different dialects across in Tamil Nadu itself. We have
Mm.
different dialects across every nook and corner.
Mm.
So
Mm.
for a first say, an organization can't look at diversity and inclusion, but
Mm.
now we have diversity, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We
Mm.
now also have a new concept called as belongingness,
Right.
DEIB. So
Mm.
belongingness can't be brought by artificial intelligence; it
Mm.
has
Mm.
to be brought in by
Mm.
humans.
Mm.
So, an organization, when we are looking at diversity, inclusion, and equity, we need to have people who are ready to embrace that change and accept the people with diverse thing.
Wow.
Because
Mm.
if we don't accept, we always say unity in diversity. So, are
Mm.
we, that's a question mark. I leave it to the panel and to our people who are watching us.
Great. Yes. Anyone? Anyone want to add? Gayatri, you want to add something on this?
Thanks a lot for letting me to go and give some views from my end. I guess I had already given the inputs via chat box, but even then, from my end, I could like to say I don't want to mention the client or rather the role that what I was working with. So now, due to a personal setback, I'm just now in a sabbatical break right now. But
Mm-hmm.
even then, I'll love to help people a lot. So through me, a senior guy, though he had work experience with all the verticals that the mentioned so-called JD, but the AA tool denied it. And that was
Mm-hmm.
me intervened to the senior management, and now he's cleared all the technical interviews and he's supposed to go and join in
Mm-hmm.
quite a while. But again, see, without human intervention, nothing can be done.
Very true. Because there was one,
Thanks, guys.
yeah, thanks so much, Gayatri. I think she had bring up a one important part, which I felt like, and there was like one of this particular fear that was there that every job would be taken by AI, and how the economy would work. You know how things would work if AI is relentless, is not able to sleep, he doesn't require any leave. He's not human. Okay, he or she, whatever the way they want to identify the gender of the AI. So once that is there, how economy would work, because economy works on emotions. We are aspired to acquire certain things, a home or a car, okay, the needs, the travel, the tour, okay, all those things. If you see, entire economy is based upon what is the value proposition that is there and felt by the human beings. Okay, that is why the economy is running out. Even if all the jobs are taken back, okay, all the jobs are going there, but the economy has to run on emotions, and that is where human would be there. And there was one discussion that was there, that there has to be a global standard pay, if at all the jobs goes to AI, and that is what we are progressing towards. And I want to bring one of the elements which Edwin explained, that we have to really scrutinize which JD has an AI element towards repetitive jobs, which can be automated to AI, which can be transaction based, and whichever are human based, which require empathy, sympathy, an intuitiveness, or all those things that are there, the warmth, the human touch, as we have considered earlier. And I think this is where we have to segregate those particular part, which part would go off the JD, would go to an AI, and which part would stay with a human being. And definitely it would be there. And I would again like to quote one of the, I think, interview that was there with Bill Gates. I'm not able to remember, and I always quote this in a lot many of my podcasts, and it stays relevant to the situation as well. That It was asked that what would be the major skill that would be there, or what would be the competency that a human being required to compete in the age of AI. And the answer was very simple: to being more human. Okay, that is one thing. That what is the competency as a human that we would require in an AI is being more human, because that is what we are left with now. So I see this as a very a kind of a liberating kind of a age, as Malolan said that yes, it is it's a boon in a disguise that we are actually not verifying it much more into that deeper sense, that if we are directing ourselves rather than maximizing the profit, rather than how we can easily make human role, and there is a lot of cases of burnout, mental exhaustion, a lot of mental diseases that are coming up because of work pressure. So why can't we utilize the entire AI regime to get a human being's job less and less tedious, less and less repetitive, less and less I think a blood sucking, that we can call it. So why can't we do that rather than as an HR? Is that because that comes the burden comes on us, because we are advocates of human beings, and that is where we feel like, okay, this is what we have to do more. And that is very much true, because I think a lot many emotional challenges that employee face right now is the fear of loss of job. Okay, there are 85 million jobs are going to replace by 2025. That is what at the end of 2025, and that is going to create a lot of anxiety, particularly in mid-career professionals. Okay, because a lot of people, even Gen Zs, are going to come up to a middle age. They are into 30, 35 to 40 range. So there will be a lot of churn between that particular sphere, and definitely from millennial, those who are gone into senior management roles, they are going to also face that blaze. So as Gayatri said, that she had recommended that this was the profile, and AI has uprightly rejected it, and she have to intervene in that particular part. And that has been really evident in a lot many companies. Mercedes itself has also created one AI which used to interview that particular person into the car itself, the mechanic. He used to enter into the car, and the AI used to come up, and she used to ask the question like, if this is the problem, what would be the solution? And that also failed after a certain point in time, because the AI was only selecting certain kind of skin color people or profiles. It was neglecting all other employees based upon their skill sets, and not on their the appearance, because it was given a kind of a camera onto the onto the car, which was used to recognize what kind of facial attributes that particular person has. So based upon that, there was a lot of biases that were there. So yes, that is there. Then employees are also facing this particular issue of loss of agency that is there. So we are feeling uncontrollable, because I think the anxiety happens only when we see ourselves as not able to control anything that is going on right now, and AI has created that particular environment. This is where HR is going to be the someone. HR is going to be that particular person, a counselor, who would have that kind of a transparent communication between that. Where we would be people who would be mitigating the biases that would be there. So I think AI systems would be far more fine tuned to that particular part, that we have to audit the AI system. Like Microsoft AI ethic community is there to ensure fairness. That is one thing that Microsoft is ensuring, and that I think that is important. This is going to be the new role of human being, to be on that ethic community for AIs. Because as I told you, that AI is an artificial neo, it is an alien intelligence. They are not going to relate to our, because once they're going to give result, what would be the effect on human beings when it is getting applied? That is more thing. That is one thing that we have to look into that. So human oversightness is very important. Combining AI with human decision making, wherein building trust and reducing errors. This is where we have to step in as an HR. That is what I felt, that this is one thing that is really very important. So I think this has really bring up to one of the a solid conversation that we had in terms of how AI or what is the role of an HR. But before getting to that particular part and coming up to the conclusion of it, one question that I want to ask, which is really future trending, and that would go with the recruitment part, with the people development part as well. So, what does the future of AI is in recruitment looks like in terms of technology evolution and recruiter role? That I want to ask to Malolan.
Okay, that was a good question. So, uh, See, being into recruitment for so many years, recruiters will evolve into strategic advisors, focusing more on relationship building,
Right.
employer branding,
Hmm.
and cultural alignment.
Hmm.
So, while letting the AI handle the repetitive task, and
Right.
that's going to be the future trend.
Very true. Great. Great. Thank you for the answer. Yes, Edwin. What do you think? What would be the future of AI in people development?
He had given a very short, crisp. I can't do that because
I know. Yeah,
we
the
will
habit
take it
habit is not
to,
built.
yeah.
Yeah.
So your previous discussions and everything were very insightful. To adding to that, there are two, three layers to the discussion. So when we look at the HR's evolution itself, from in personal management, we have shifted into human resource training, and then development management, human capital management, and now we are into a space where human experience.
Right.
So now people are also looking at HR community as a
Mhm.
people experience specialist, where we are looking at emoting and empathizing with everyone in the organization, because it has been very stressful for everyone when we look at the AI's intervention.
Mhm.
And there's always a statement it's always better to stay with the known devil than to go with an unknown devil. So AI is like that kind of a situation wherein the more we know, the better we can look at addressing it.
Right.
And when we look at the father of modern HR, Dave Ulrich, he had given his four quadrants. So HR already plays multiple hats. So with a change agent, with a strategic partner, and with an employee experienced person, there's one column wherein he is looking at administrative excellence. So
Mm.
this administrative excellence, all the HR related jobs which are very administrative, which are very repetitive, will be taken over by AI. So
Mm.
people who are in that space have to adapt them to shift to other dimensions of their job, or how they can embrace adapting AIs to make their job more easier.
Mhm.
And another thing is, when the typewriter had come in,
Mm.
people
Mm.
with the shorthand had an issue saying, "Mera job kidhar gaya?"
Right.
And when we had the computers brought in, people had a
Mhm.
challenge saying the books of
Mm.
ledgers and Excel, everything got a lot of
Mhm. Mm.
turmoil.
Mm.
The
Mm.
computer will take our jobs. So AI is also in that space.
Right.
None of the people's jobs is going to be taken over. Only
Right.
thing is, who has adapted to this technology to make his life easier is the
Mm.
one who's going to steal your job. So do you want to give your job to somebody who is more tech savvy, or do
Mhm.
you want to embrace and adapt and
Mm.
adapt the technology? And we as HRs, I'll say we are laggards when we are to the face of technological adaptations, because we are sitting at a very comfort zone, and we
Mm.
say
Mm.
we would be the last person to adapt a technology. But COVID spoiled everything, and everyone had to look at digital transformation, and HR
Mm.
were the ones who could bring in that change with the COVID. So,
Mm.
and another hat which you had brought in was the mental well-being.
Right.
So when we look at now different trends and different reports from Gartner or from McKinsey or McKinsey's, we have reports
Yes.
like
Yeah.
data-driven roles,
Mm.
HR analytics, AI-driven jobs. Then you are
Right.
also looking at empathy and mental well-being. So those are the trends which are going to be there. So
Very true.
as HR, we have come into a space where we are looking at giving a great experience to our employees and candidates.
Mm.
So likewise, we need to have that empathy
Mm.
and the human touch.
Okay.
That's the golden touch we say, right? Midas touch.
Midas.
That
Yes.
can't go.
Yes.
People have to be human, and
Mm.
with only human, works can be
Right.
done.
Right. So
Your
if I
AI, yeah.
yeah, I sorry to interrupt you, but it was really a great flow, and I just wanted to ask one thing that if you want to, give name or a title to your evolved, role in future, let's say next 3 years, when AI is going to be, part of your integral part of your position of people development, what that role would call as, what that title will look like. Because I had an interesting, kind of a title that comes up.
Please tell me.
It's nothing like it's a very simple. It is like a people analytical lead. So what it is going to do is it is harness the AI driven insight of optimal HR strategy and improve decision making and employee outcomes. So this is where we have to come in, even with the AI ethics and governance officers. So those are the people who are going to be more into skill set. I think this particular certification would be done by everybody, because
Yeah,
we have to see
I'll
how the ethics and the governance of those particular strategies, like managing the growing responsibility and ensuring that AI systems are transparent, ethical, and free from biases in area like let's say TA as well as performance evaluation and even development. So those are some of the positions that would be coming up. And if any listeners who is in Gen Z or Gen Alpha or Gen Beta, I think these are the positions that you can venture into, more of an AI ethics and governance officer rather than HR as a traditional role, or people analytical leads, or even if you're looking at TA as a such, like AI driven talent strategist. Now that is something that you can. So there are a lot of fancy titles. Even if you see my title in WisdomSeed, it is Chief Human Reinvention Strategist or Officer. So it's like a human intervention. क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं? I'm just trying to make people more mentally resilient in this particular time of turmoil, where we have not our colleges and our universities have really lacked in terms of making our skill inventories which are emotionally resilient. That was none of our emotional inventory anytime. We always have one emotion, that is to be angry, be to be very vocal about it, or to be very implosive about our
submissive.
feelings.
There are only low and a high. There
Hi,
is no
that's it.
middle
No middle.
one.
So I think the
Quitting and
balance,
crying.
yeah, the balance is that I still remember that Sylvester Stallone dialogue that life would, punch you in your face and it will make you keep you there itself. It is not going to be, it is not a rosy picture. And it says rather than fighting, it is how much you take, how much you can take. That is the only thing that is there. So that resilience part, I know this is not the worst time that we are facing. Greater Depression was there, World War One, World War Two was there, famine was there, Indo-China war was there, independence, like we were like enslaved by this. So there are a lot of many things that were there. Where I see Gen Zs and Gen Alphas are really disheartened by the fact that this is going to take my job and I won't be skillless. But I think human beings are known for adaptability. They are the only one thing that cockroaches and us, what we share in common is like we adapt to the situation and the environment. We try to make our way out of it, and I think we are far more persistent into that. So this is where I just want to make a kind of a psychological kind of like mental health consulting वाला होता है ना, तो motivation वाला मेरे से जाता नहीं है. So why I want
नहीं,
to
that is
tell people,
perfectly
yeah.
fine.
So that is what I want to tell people, that who is listening right now, that this is what we are getting into. This is a transition phase, and there would be a lot of confusion when it is a transition stage. As said, it is still into amoeba phase. AI is into amoeba phase. It is going to grow into a monster or a angel. That is something that time will tell us. But we can't have that kind of envision right now and be stressed and or fascinated about it. We have to be very realistic. We have to see in that how those effects are being on us, on economy, on society. That is there because of we have to be aware of the fact that this is happening and we are part of it. We can't cut ourselves out of it, and we can't relegate back. People say like, don't use mobile phone, don't use social media. Nothing is like, it is going to stay there. It is not going to go away. We can't go back in time. We can't go back to our stone ages. We can't do that. We have to very well integrate it with resilience, that I feel like, when it comes to the psychological aspect of it. So that is my take on that. Gayatri, I want you to give your take, and we will be concluding our session. Or if you have any questions that have come to your mind, you can ask us.
There's one question from Eric. I think we have
Yeah,
answered.
Eric is like, okay. I will take Eric's question, then I will come to Gayatri. So, hi sir. Okay, really. Okay. My question is: once AI integration is in all organization, is that no? Yeah. What is it? That is
Is
no.
that no more HR role in the
Mere
future?
Maharaj. Okay, I was getting this emoticon on that. Okay, only AI is enough for all HR function. No more MBA. What is the future of HR? Who is going to answer
I
that?
think we discussed on that
Yeah.
thin line. So I
Yes.
think we have
I started with
answered.
the flow, then you continued, and Inman
No,
has
I have not yet
answered
done.
further.
I'll adding to Abhijit's point was
we
the
we
future of
are
HR
we are human guys. We will cut cross. We will not
will
do all
fix
those
in.
things that are not AI based. Imperfection would be there. Yes, tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So adding to that, ISO has a standard now they had brought in, which is
Hmm.
42,000, which is into AI.
Hmm.
So they are bringing in governance towards every organizations to follow. They
Right.
also have governance, that is social responsibility and governance on 26,000. So there are
Right.
charter of frameworks where every organization can look
Hmm.
at
Hmm.
the fair practices.
Hmm. Hmm.
You mentioned about Microsoft; they have an ethics committee, and I
Hmm.
think TCS also integrates AI with best HR practices with some
Right.
governance part.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
ethics and governance, which you said, is going to be the new roles in the organization, because
Right.
we are looking at data privacy and everything. We
Hmm.
have come from an era where we used to write postcards. There was no data thing. Now we are closing everything and giving.
Right.
Still, we find there's a data breach.
Right.
So data governance will be a great role to look at,
Hmm.
and we are also adapting. India has also given the first set of frameworks and drafts for data protection. So
Hmm.
DPDA acts are also in place. So that's a niche area to go for if you have somebody
Right.
is looking at a future space of digital
Very
landscape.
true. As you said, I just want to add up one thing. Employee experience architect. That is one thing that would be one of the role that you are right now mentioned. I think you mentioned that we are more of a people experience
People experience,
function
yes.
right now. So I think employee experience architect would be someone who would be expert in the field of like what is the employee journey mapping, AI driven engagement tool. Like as Malolan said that we have a chatbot who really responds to that you are not selected and all those things, and having sympathy with that particular person, or even going one step ahead that we can bring out other companies opportunity to that particular person in that chatbot. Okay, if that particular person has not clear in our company, we can give him all references of other company who have same openings. So like those kind of humanization. Okay, so key focus for these people who would be like employee experience architect would be more upon designing an engaging or supporting environment where AI enhance technology improves employee satisfaction, okay, and well-being and the performance. So it would be more of bringing the human experience to that particular level that we used to have this customer experience, wow experience. I think this is where we are targeting our entire function as well, that how we can be able to bring that particular wow experience into HR as well, where experience architect would be the next realm of human resource. Because MBA, I think MBA would also have a certain kind of branches. I think it is still is an administration, it still is a business, but I think it would have an AI wing towards it. And I think companies and a lot of organization institutes are also coming up with their version of it. So, Eric, I would like to, as Gayatri has already said, that definitely this question has a kind of a competency which will add up to individual values. Okay, for any organization. Okay, so that is there definitely, but now it is going to be very specific to that organization. AI is going to give you that visibility. Previously, we didn't have that visibility. It was all closed, as said. Now we are closing it data, but it would be exclusive to that particular organization to be more of that organization's core values. That is what. We would be more better version, maybe more digital version, provided that the leadership is philanthropic, or we would be digital version of the devil itself. I don't know how it would work. But I think the times, this is where I told you that the governance and ethical committee, that is far more important and an important role than the legal aspect of every organization or the corporate laws that we know as. So that is going to come. So I think Eric have answered your question a bit in terms of a not in a very explicit manner, but non-explicit manner. It is very vague a bit because we are also, to be very honest, we are just looking at the freak show. We are the audience of the freak show that is happening, and we are also trying to make sense. And we'll see how it evolves. And in transition, this is bound to happen. This is a part of transition, and definitely when the it settles a bit, definitely we would be able to take a lot of concrete decisions and a lot of, I think there would be an era wherein we will see integration of AI and human being a bit seamlessly. And it would be far more, what I can say, the kind of, what I can say, the younger generation who have faced the challenges will be less mitigated into the future generation. AI integration would be there. So I was like just saying to my wife that if our child goes abroad and we are like just left or in our old age, so I just remember of that particular factor. Tesla is building a robo. Next 15 years or 20 years, I would have a personal assistant as a robo for me. I don't have to rely on my children's. So I think that would irrigate a bit a bigger question of old age help or old age homes that we are looking at. So there is a better picture that we are able to see, and definitely we just have to be more resilient mentally and skill wise. We have to reskill ourselves, unlearn what we have not traditionally we have learned, and we have to reskill as per as AI era. And that is we have how we are going to adapt. That is the only thing that we can do as human that we are known for. So great. I think any last sentence, or I was about to come to Gayatri. I think I just over emphasized on my part. Gayatri, anything that you want to add up? Gayatri, are you there? Okay, I think Gayatri just. Okay, really clear. So thanks for input. Okay, Eric, thank you so much. I think Gayatri was not able to stay with us. Any which ways. Great. So guys, I think that is a pretty good wrap up. A great discussion. Thank you so much, Malolan. Thank you so much, Edwin. And thank you so much, Eric. And Gayatri, she's not there, but I want to thank to her as well for her inputs. And this has been one of those topics that I have been looking forward for, and I want to integrate more functions. Apart from HR, I want to integrate operations, finance, strategic heads, and how those functions would also be part of AI integration, and what would be the effect, because all human beings are there. So that is the next episode that I would be like to cover on, and we would like to bring in those particular leaders head who can talk on this particular topic and give us more insight on how you guys has contributed to this particular session. So thank you so much, and thank you to all the listeners from WisdomSeed and from my side.